Hi friends, I'm Walker and welcome back to All About Nails, where we talk about vegan and cruelty-free nail polish. Today we're talking about maybe the most exciting collection I've ever spoken about on my channel. That's not true, but it's pretty exciting. This is the spring collection from All About Polish. If you have not heard yet, I am launching a brand this year. I did a pre-order in January, and now on March 1st, next week, we are officially launching the first collection from All About Polish. This is Flora. This is our spring 2020 collection. So if you did see some of the videos that I posted earlier this year about the pre-order and kind of talking about the brand, then you know that these polishes are vegan, they are cruelty-free, they are 10-free, and they're made in the US. I'm really proud of these 6 colors, and so we're going to dive in and talk about these 6, and then at the end I'll give you a little more information about the launch, the packaging, etc., etc. So let's dive in and look at these 6 colors. Okay, first up we're going to look at Aster. We're just going to do these in alphabetical order today because that's the easiest way to do it. Aster is a really lovely kind of minty green. I think it's more blue leaning than it is green leaning as far as mints go, but I absolutely love this color and I don't have anything like it in my collection. I think the formula on Aster is probably the most opaque of any of the polishes in this collection, but it's just a little bit thicker and it has just a little bit more white in the base, which is what allows it to be kind of the opacity that it is. So you can see the first coat here is not necessarily a one coat polish. It definitely has some streaks and it is, you know, not a perfect coverage, but it is pretty close. So I think if you did a thicker coat than I'm doing here, you might be able to get this in one coat, but I think it's an absolute dream to work with. I think it's a really easy formula to kind of manipulate. It doesn't really run or pool at all. And I love the color on this one. It's probably, you know, it's a spring polish, but it's definitely a brighter spring polish. Like, this is not one that you're gonna wear in February when it's just starting to feel like spring. This one is a little bit more bold, a little bit brighter. I think partly because it has so much white in it, it's just really, really bright and light. And you can see on the second coat here, it's getting all the way to opacity. So I think this one is definitely a 2-coater. I know some folks might be able to get it opaque in 1 coat if, you know, your nails are a little bit shorter and you do a thicker coat. But I think the 2 thin coats gives you really nice, smooth, even coverage. And something that I love about all of the formulas in this collection is that they're all super, super glossy. So I always wear top coat in all of my swatches and whenever I do my nails, but I just appreciate a polish that is really glossy on its own. So you can see these ones are super glossy in their 2 coats here. So that's 2 coats of Aster. Okay, and next we have Calla Lily. This is the only shimmer in the collection. The rest are creams, because creams are my favorite. This one is a kind of soft spring green with a really strong, like, yellow gold shimmer. I think it looks a little more gold in the bottle, but when you get it on the nails and you get that shimmer in the light, I think it actually looks a little bit more yellow. And I think that the shimmer and the base in this polish work really well together. The shimmer really just complements the base, but I don't feel like it hides the base, if that makes sense. It's definitely a little bit more sheer than the first one that we looked at. So this is 1 coat so far, and on 1 coat you get kind of a nice, you know, like, smattering of the color and the shimmer, and this probably gives you a sense of what it would look like as a topper. So you can definitely layer this one over like other blues or greens. I think that would be really, really pretty, maybe even a yellow. But I like to build this one up to full opacity to wear it. It's not, I don't wear toppers that often, so I like this one in full opacity. 2 coats, I think, gives you a really nice coverage. It definitely gets more opaque on 2 coats than I expected it to the first time that I tried it, but you do still get a little visible nail line, at least when you do the kind of thinner coats that I'm doing and when your nails are the length of mine are. But if you have like a whiter visible nail line than I do, you might definitely want to do 3 coats. I have 3 coats on in my swatch photo, and when I filmed this video I was wearing Calla Lily and I'm wearing 3 coats in my video. It's just kind of my preferred way to wear it, but you can totally do it just in 2. So I'm going to show you it built up in 3 here, but I think you can see, like, in 2 it's pretty good. So I definitely don't think that this one would require a 3rd coat unless you're kind of a stickler for all that visible nail line. But I think the formula is really good. It drives me crazy when shimmers are sheer and also super thin and runny. This one I think goes exactly where you put it. It doesn't run or pool, and it dries really quickly. So even if you do have to do 3 thin coats, I think it dries fast. It stays where you put it. It's not kind of like gloopy and annoying, which I appreciate. So you are looking at 3 coats of the lovely shimmery Calla Lily. Okay, and then getting back to our cream friends, this one is Cornflower. Cornflower I'm describing as kind of a soft periwinkle blue. It's not a super strong, you know, purple periwinkle, but it's definitely not just a blue. There is something else going on in here, and I think this one is absolutely stunning. It is the polish that I knew was going to be in this collection before I knew any other colors, before I knew the name, before I knew anything. Kale Polish St. Clair is one of my absolute favorite spring polishes to wear ever, and I wanted something that was reminiscent of St. Clair and would kind of give me that same like whited out periwinkle vibe, and so this one I think is just like the perfect polish for this collection. So Cornflower I think is a 2-coat polish. On 1 coat here you can see this formula is a little bit, it's not quite a crelly, but it has a little bit less of that white in the base than Aster did. And so it's a little bit more sheer, you know, it has a little bit more streakiness on this first coat. I personally wear this one in 2 coats. I think that you can build it up to opacity in 2 coats. I think that it's one of those polishes that kind of surprises you and how opaque it gets on 2 coats given how the first coat goes. But I think it's just a really smooth formula. It self-levels really well, and so you can totally get it opaque on 2 coats. I definitely think that if you have longer nails or you do super, super thin coats, you might decide you want a 3rd coat, but I think 2 is totally fine for me. I love the formula on this one and the next one that we're going to look at because they are a little bit more of that crelly formula, which I think just makes them look a little bit more juicy and voluptuous on the nails. They're just a little bit more oomph. Do you know what I mean? So Cornflower is the delicate periwinkle in this collection, and you're looking at it in 2 super glossy coats. All right, next is Hyacinth, and this one is a very hard kind of color to capture. It is a coral, but I would say this one is an orange leaning coral. It's not quite like a sorbet or like a creamsicle orange. It definitely still has a little bit of that pink lean to it, but I would say it's an orange leaning coral that definitely has that pink influence that we want to find in a coral. I really like orange leaning corals. I prefer orange over pink, and so I tend to like them more orange leaning corals, which is why that's what we have in this collection. This one has a little bit again of that kind of more sheer formula like we saw in Cornflower, and so this one is a little bit more of that like crelly kind of juicy formula. Again, I think this formula self-levels really well, so you do get some of those streaks on the first coat, but on 2 coats I do think it evens out pretty well. I do wear Hyacinth in 3 coats. I just think that it gives you a little bit more, you know, total opacity, a little bit more kind of a sheer cover. And this one's just a little bit of a lighter color, and so I think the 3 coats just gives you a little bit more oomph. So on 2 coats here, you can see that it is getting pretty opaque and that it does kind of self-level pretty well. So, you know, a lot of those streaks that are going to be there when I first put my brush down kind of even out as it dries, which is really, really nice. But you can see here when I'm coming in for my 3rd coat that it maintains its glossiness really well. So I really like this color. It is unique for me in terms of other creams that I have in my collection. I have a couple like shimmer based polishes that are similar to this, so I will show you those when I do my comparison video just so you can see them. But for me, this is pretty unique for the creams in my collection, and I really love this color. I've already worn it this spring, and I got several compliments on it because it's a really nice kind of warm but still like muted out and perfect for spring shade. So that's 3 coats of Hyacinth. Okay, and here is Lemon Blossom. This is another one that I knew was going to be in this collection, or that I wanted to have in my line before I had anything else decided about this collection. This one is a super perfect pastel yellow. I think it is just right in between yellow and white. There's no like orange or kind of other color in here. It's just straight up pastel yellow. And I think the formula on this one is pretty good. I have worn it sometimes in 2 coats and sometimes in 3 coats. My swatch photo shows it in 3 coats right now. I think my nails were just a little bit longer than when I did my live swatch. My live swatch I'm going to show you just in 2 coats. So it really is going to depend on your application style, your nails, etc. I do think that the formula is not like challenging to apply. I think I've tried some lighter yellows that are almost like chalky and kind of like sticky, but I think this one's really easy to apply. It goes on really smoothly. It does have some, you know, streaks because it's a pretty light color, but it's not like challenging to get smooth, if that makes sense. So the 2nd coat here is going on really evenly. I think that it kind of fills in all those streaks, and like I said, I am going to stop at 2 coats here because I think it's enough. You might want to go to 3, but I love this color. I'm really excited to do comparisons of it, especially because I think there are some other light yellows out there that, you know, you might think they're all the same, but then when you compare them, you'll see that this one is actually pretty different from the other yellows in my collection, which I'm just really excited to show you. So you are looking at Lemon Blossom in 2 coats, and I hope that you love this one as much as I do. Okay, last but certainly not least, this is Rhododendron, and this one was actually the most popular color in our pre-orders. This one was the one that most people who ordered the trio picked. I think this one is perfectly balanced right between pink and purple, so it's probably the only pink that I will ever release in a spring collection because I love the way that this looks. It is so kind of bright and vibrant, and the warm, like super warm purple base I think is just absolutely gorgeous. This one is probably closer to that formula like Aster, so it has a little bit more of that white in the base. It's going to be a little bit more opaque. I don't know that this one's a 1 coater for me. You might be able to get it in 1 coat depending on your application. I think this one's really nice in 2 coats though. It's super glossy, super fun to wear. I wore this one for almost a week earlier this year, and I got so many compliments on it because I think it is, you know, in person just a really like striking color, and I think it is pretty unique. It's not a color that people see all that often in nail polish. So I'm really excited to hear how you all like this one. I think it was kind of a sleeper hit. It didn't get all the attention of the blues and the greens, but I do think that it's going to be very popular. So you are looking at 2 coats of Rhododendron. Super lovely. Honestly, I'm not going to try and pick a favorite. This one's Calla Lily on my nails right now. I love it, but I love them all. I've worn them all this year, and I couldn't pick a favorite. It would be like trying to pick a favorite of my cats or something. Like I'm not going to do it. It's not worth it. But I would love to hear what your favorite is down below. When you order the full collection, it comes in a box like this. All of the packaging that we use, the boxes, the bubble wrap in here that is made out of cardboard, it's all made out of 100% recycled materials, and it is also itself 100% recyclable. So it was important to me both that it was recyclable, but also it was important to me that it was made out of recycled content, because that's actually an even more sustainable way to create your packaging. So being recyclable is awesome, but if you can find ways to use items that are already created from post-consumer recycled materials, it's even more sustainable. So I'm really excited to be bringing this collection into the world. I feel like I've, you know, spent so much time thinking about every single detail, from the packaging to the logo to the back of the bottles. Really proud of it, and I just can't wait for it to be in your hands and to hear your feedback, to hear from you what you like, what you don't like, so that we can make the next collection even better. Like I said, all of the release information is down below in the description box, and if you sign up for our newsletter, you will get a 10% off discount code right before the launch, so definitely stay tuned for that. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me today. I can't wait to see you in the next one. Let's talk soon. Bye.